Okay. Let's see. We should be good to go. Um. Okay. I'm gonna start out with Raheem Mostert right here. That's one guy that I've been waiting for a little bit, and I'm excited to talk about. Prize Picks opening line was 55.5. Current Prize Picks line 69.5. Okay. Let's see. So one of the great things about the Discord is that you can see with the props.cash tool just how many times Raheem Mostert has done this. Raheem Mostert. Let's see. Let's go 55 rush yards. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 games last season. 6 of 8 hit rate. 6 of 8. When healthy, let's see. Let's look up Mostert over on ESPN. Get the box score going. Let's see. So, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, 8 games last season before going out with injury. Didn't play anything past Christmas. And as we can see right here, he really only missed it twice. Hit on the hook from the opening number in the first game, but the target is going to be 55.5. Hit that opening line. Target price when FanDuel or DraftKings drop their number, because as we saw from this Thursday night football game, they're quick to ask. So some questions we have about this. Trey Sermon. He's the first running back really taken in this new regime by Shanahan. With meaningful full draft capital. So let's see, how much do we think Sermon is going to play a role? Well, when we look at his preseason performances, which we should be able to pull up right here, one of the first things we want to see, nope, is that not? Let's see, let me look up Trey Sermon. Let's see, game logs. No, okay, they're not doing that. Let's go Trey Sermon preseason. I already know they weren't that good, but I want to have the exact numbers just to make sure. Are these all just articles about a Sermon preseason rushing? Let's see, preseason box score. Could have just went to ESPN, but let's see. Okay, you selected how early? Third round. Okay, that's what I thought. Third or fourth. So let's look at the stats. Are we really not going to get preseason? Let's see. Game log. Okay. well, I'm just going to leave. What's up, Buck? Nice to see you, bud. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm just walking through some guys I'm looking at. Raheem Mostert, someone I already know I'm going to be betting, but due to the nature of Twitter, articles, all that stuff, it's good to lay out all your thoughts in a nice, clean Google Doc. So pretty much what I'm going to say about Sermon is I do think he is someone that will have a meaningful role at some point in the season, but is that week 1 against the Lions? I'm not sure. I know his preseason results were not anything special because I was tuning into those games and I was not blown off the page. Not to say that isn't, not to say he's not talented or anything like that, but at the end of the day, I'm going to need to see a little bit more before I actually commit to betting off Sermon off the bat, because I really don't think that he's going to do anything special. And thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. But if you know, this might not be the most interesting thing in the world, but yeah, thoughts on Chase Edmonds / James Conner. I think it's going to be a lose-lose situation for a little bit. Just to be frank with you, Chase Edmonds is someone that a lot of people hyped up last season as someone that is going to take the job from Kenyon Drake, but he didn't actually end up doing that. Edmonds is someone that works on efficiency, and that's a good thing. But I'm not sure how efficient he can be. I think he's going to have almost a similar role that he did last year, and you know, that kind of worries me a little bit. And Conner, he hasn't been the same after injury. So it's those kind of things are going to depend on where their lines open week 1. I think Chase Edmonds' receptions is something that's very reasonable, that you could bet on week 1, especially in a game with the Titans with such a high. Any change on the Zeke receiving yards prop with Martin out? It's just more checkdowns, man. It just means that the pressure is going to be on Dak this whole time. Dak's going to have to toss it to his running backs. I think Pollard also catches a couple passes. It's really bad if you're a Cowboys real-life fan, but as for our receiving yards prop, I don't have any worries about it. I still think it just means more checkdowns. But back to Edmonds, for betting or for fantasy football, I'm not playing either of them week 1 because I think James Conner is touchdown dependent, which means he needs to fall into the end zone against the Titans, which could happen. It's a high game total, so I think a lot of offense is going to take place in that game. But at the end of the day, from a betting perspective, I'm not super interested in betting on James Conner, but Chase Edmonds' receptions is something to keep an eye on. And I wonder, let me just check real quick. Let's see. Let's go props and then Chase. Let me ESPN his name real quick so I don't butcher Ed. Okay, it's not that hard. Chase Edmonds. Rec. Let's see. Does that pop anything up? Just receptions? Okay, so last year, yeah, Chase Edmonds had 7, 3, 3, 4, 4, 2, 4, 3, 2, 2. So now that Kenyon Drake is gone, I think James Conner will have a similar role. This is actually interesting. The more I think about it, the more Chase Edmonds receptions could be on the table. If it's set at 2.5, because we got to remember, Kenyon Drake actually did have a role on this team in the passing game last year. So I'm going to just put this to the side just so we know. But Chase Edmonds receptions, let's see. Assuming the number is... assuming the number is 2.5, out of his last 10 games, he sit at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he's at 7 over 2.5 receptions in 7 of his last 10 games. Drake missing from the receiving game role. Conner touchdown dependent. Okay, so I think that's actually something to keep an eye on. I appreciate you pointing that out because I do think that Edmonds will have a role on this team, and I think it'll improve from last year, but just from a fantasy football perspective, because that's where my mind's been at these last couple days. That I'm not super into it. But if I had to guess, I would have to guess 2.5 receptions would be juiced if it does open up, and it'll probably move to 3.5. So that's something to keep an eye out on. Not something I'm gonna be like chasing necessarily, but if we get it at the right number, especially if 2.5, let's say, comes out at minus 150, that's a great parlay piece, especially in such a game with such a high game a game with a high game total. I think highest on the slate. I'll double check that later. I think there's a good chance he gets a couple catches. You got to keep up with Julio, you know? I think that's something to keep an eye out on. So, okay, back to Mostert, though. Mostert, let me finish up. So, Sermon, I don't think he's going to be someone with a meaningful role. Wait, let's see. I do think he's going to be someone with a meaningful role, but not this early in the season. A lot of people are kind of assuming that this is his job off the bat, but that's not something I'm necessarily just kind of agreeing with, honestly. I mean, Mostert, like, let's look at these box scores. He's shown that he is good at the game of football. He's not someone that is. See, if he was someone that relied, like Joe Mixon, that relied on 19 carries a game, 20 carries a game, something like that, like 23 carries a game to get to these numbers, that's fine, but he's not that guy. As we see from these box scores right here, he's getting this mark on 14 carries, on 16, he missed it on 16, on 17 carries, on 11 carries, on 8 carries, you know what I mean? He's an explosive running back, and if we look at this Jets box score, I think the Jets of last year and the Lions of this year are very comparable, actually, in terms of matchup. So these are teams. Let's see. 8 attempts. So essentially, what happened last year is 31-13. He ran for a big. Let's see. He ran for a big breakaway long touchdown in the beginning of the game. I think he covered it from there. We can check his long right here. Let's see. Okay, he ran for 80 yards. Exactly. He had a huge run. He covered it in one run, and he scored a touchdown there. I remember that vividly from last year. And the Lions defense, I think, is going to be similar to last season, where really, to be honest, this game could be over in the first half, or maybe even by the end of the first quarter. Okay, I won't say first quarter. End of the first half. I don't have any confidence in the Lions, and that's why I'm not high on guys like Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and Deebo Samuel in week 1, because I think there's a possibility that this game could be over very fast, and Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have to do a lot of work. I mean, this defense could even make this game over in the first half. Like, we could see some legitimate defensive scores against a team like the Lions with Goff and with the struggles they're having on offense, So what normally in those times, those kind of game scripts, that leads to the opposing running back. So essentially, what I'm looking at here is Mostert. I guess the main part of this article is essentially that Mostert is an extremely efficient running back. He's someone that averages over, around 5 yards per carry. He's someone that has a great offensive line, or specifically a run blocking offensive line, because besides Williams and Mack, who they acquired, not the best pass blocking in the world, but they are a really good run blocking offensive line. And I think this team is going to run. Even if Sermon does have a big role on this team, we just talked about this a couple days ago. He got this 14 attempts. He missed on on 16 and 9. Yeah, that happens. Got there on 17, got there on 11, got there on 8, got there on 15. This is a guy that doesn't need to run the ball 20 times to get there. Even if Sermon does have a role, it's not the biggest deal in the world for us because Mostert is a good football player at the end of the day. And that's really kind of what I'm excited for. And you guys can obviously hit with any more questions you have about the people you want to talk about, because I'm here to talk about anybody. I'm just getting ready for week 1. There's a lot of names that I got to get ready for when these lines drop. I don't want to be sleeping. I want to have these little mini blurbs ready so I can be prepared to drop these, because I really want this 55, man. I missed it on Prize Picks. Our guy Ethan in the Bet Karma Discord was on it. Got a couple good bets out to the Bet Karma people over there, which was pretty cool. I'm sad. I was like, I'll do it the next morning. I think I was out with some friends, and I missed a good line. And then they hit it to 65. Now it's up to 69. Not the worst bet in the world, but it's something I'm not as fond of at this point right here. Let's see. That is shown efficiency pass. He doesn't need to have the ball 20 times to cash this number. Detroit is gonna be one of the worst teams in the league, lacking front top and talent on the line, on the defensive line, along with no real notable linebackers that scare me. Mostert, this is just like plus matchup. Let me just plus matchup. Possibly best in football. So yeah, he hit this in 6 of 8 games last season. So our biggest question is Trey Sermon, the first running back selected. Shanahan, that was selected by Shanahan with meaningful draft capital. I do think he's going to be somewhat with a meaningful role, but just not this early in the season. Even if he does, I'm not worried. Raheem has shown his ability to cash these kinds of tickets with running back competition in the past. Mostert is someone that I guess the other question would be goal line work. I looked into this. 3 touchdowns last year. So this is the reason I'm not really in on him on DFS or even fantasy points. Slash fantasy points. Because he's not someone that gets really the goal line work. McCasty's there, Sermon's there, Jeff Wilson Jr., the touchdown vulture, will be back eventually. He's out week 1, but Mostert, just he doesn't have that much touchdown equity unless he's scoring from far out. Not that much TD equity. One of those last year was an 80-yard run. So, yeah, I love Mostert. I want to keep being committed to him, but honestly, he's just not someone that I am really confident in to, carry the load on this team and really put them. Wait, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Sorry. He's not someone I'm confident in the red zone. That's pretty much the end of it. So, yeah, Mostert's extremely talented. I feel pretty good about this play. So, pretty much, let me see. Okay, I guess, so our target price is around 55. I'll probably play it, I would say, to 62 is the magic number. So, let me put that right here. 62.5 is the magic number. Anything below, yeah. that's pretty much what I got to say about Raheem Mostert. Okay, let's see. Now we are going to go. Let's see. Who to next? Okay, we talked about that. Next up for me, it's hard to resist all these running back receiving yards prop. That feels like that's my bread and butter, and I really am committed to staying there. But I'm gonna go a different direction, I think, right here, and I think I want to talk about Mike Gesicki, the tight end out of let's see. Tight end out of Miami, or out of Penn State. Is he out of Penn State? I think so. But he's playing for the Miami Dolphins right now. Coming off a good year. Yeah, Penn State. Okay, coming off a good year with Fitzpatrick. But something we saw from Tua so far, and it's been pretty clear in the preseason, is that Tua loves his tight ends. So let's see. Let's go. Mike Gesicki. Okay. And let's see. I'm gonna pull up his Prize Picks number. I don't have his opening number for Prize Picks, unfortunately, but I doubt he's someone that's moved a whole lot. I haven't really been checking in on that too much. But I don't think he's been one of the big movers from week 1. So I'm scrolling to it right now, and he's at 39. Okay, that's what I remember. I remember it sticking up to me. 39.5 receiving yards. So that is what we're looking at right now. This is on Prize Picks, by the way. Code Monotone. You get 100% deposit match, and it helps me. And plus, Prize Picks is fun. Everyone likes Prize Picks. You can multi-sport, all that stuff. But yeah, so that's what I'm using to compare, since traditional books aren't dropping their lines right now. So let's just bullet point off a couple important things. So 39.5 receiving yards on Prize Picks, and then I'm gonna put this in all caps. Tua loves tight ends. We've seen it in the preseason. We saw it in his limited and disappointing performance last year. And also, additionally, Tua is healthy. Should mean we have a better offense. And another, let's talk about, so Devontae Parker and Jalen Waddle will be his biggest competition, but Will Fuller, their big offseason acquisition, is suspended. So that's one less target in the way. So now let's look a little lower. So let me say, what's our magic number for this one? Off the top of my head, 39.5 isn't a bad number. It's available on Prize Picks right now, so if I wanted to bet it, I really could right now. But you know, I don't think I'm gonna. I'll say 35.5 is my magic number for a 1-unit bet. Right here. If we get that, I think that's probably it. And then if we get closer to 39, closer to 40, something like that, then, you know, let's see. I'm going to just scroll the page to make it a little neater when we go here, and I'll just move this Edmonds thing here. All right. Okay. So 35.5 is our magic number that we're looking for to bet him. So I talked about it a little bit, but it's just, okay, well, before I go in there, let's talk about how often he did this last year. So props, and then Mike Gesicki, rec yards. Okay, so over his last 10 games, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so he hit this. This looks like injury or something like that. I'm not sure what's going on right there. I'll open it up in the box score. Let's see. So last year, what's the deal with the 24-0? I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay. I don't remember the exact details, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That doesn't hit our magic number, but okay, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he hit this in 9 games out of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so that's interesting. So he hit this in 9 of his 15 healthy games. Yes, I'm going to talk about that in a second. So he hit this in 9 of his 15 games with a couple weird ones in the middle. I'm not sure really what's going on. Let's see, 9 to 15 games last season. But that is one of the big questions we're going to get to right here. Just in case this guy isn't in talking. So one of the biggest things is Mike Gesicki is one of those guys who isn't really a tight end. He's kind of in the Evan Ingram school of tight end, right? He plays out of the slot. So he's there to catch passes, not block opposing linemen. So guys like Kittle, we have, let's see, for guys like Kittle, we are annoyed because these guys are so good at blocking. They do their job so well that unfortunately that takes away from their time catching passes. Gesicki is not one of those guys. But one of the things we have going for us right here is that on a regular day, okay, let me write this out. On a regular day with Will Fuller, like a regular season game with Fuller, I don't love Gesicki as much because that I think what we'll see is we'll see a lot more of Waddle playing out of the slot. Gesicki, because we should see Waddle playing in the slot more. With Fuller out week 1, we finally have I don't know why I'm using the word finally, but we have a little bit more availability where Waddle I think is going to play all over the place. We don't have confirmation, but if you're looking at this depth chart in terms of talent, then Waddle's going to be out there and Gesicki is going to be out there because those guys are the most talented pass catchers they have on this team. So we should see Waddle all over the field, not necessarily pigeonholed in the slot. So yeah, most talented pass catchers on this team are Waddle, Parker, and Gesicki. Let's see. I think the snap share post game 1 will reflect that. So essentially my argument right here, I appreciate that, J Rocky, is that while on a regular week I am worried about that, and this is someone that is a late round fantasy tight end kind of guy, I do have concerns. I have Gesicki on my teams and I am a little bit worried about it, but I think another thing that we need to bring up that I talked about a little bit earlier is that Gesicki really just does love it. Or I'm sorry, not Gesicki. Tua has shown so far that he has a clear tendency to check down to the big, safer targets, and Gesicki is the biggest target on that field. We saw him last year. I don't have the exact numbers pulled up, but if we get a good number in my final write-up, these are obviously just my initial notes. I will talk about target share and snap share and stuff like that to the tight end and really get those numbers on exactly how much Tua loves tight ends. But we know that. We know Tua wants to target his big, safe receiver that he feels pretty confident will bring down the ball and catch the ball. So yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that, really. I think I do think that Gesicki has the talent to be out there, and he's their number. I mean, they have Shaheen, I think, still on the roster. I'm not worried about any targets being vultured from anyone down on the roster. So he has the slot, not to himself in week 1, but he'll have much more opportunity, and I think he knows that, and I think he's going to want to prove himself week 1. And let's go into Jets matchup now. This is a great matchup. let me think. I don't know what the game total. Let's see. Jets versus Panther. Wait, no, that's not the Jets. Wait, sorry, Dolphins week 1. For some reason, okay, the Patriots. Interesting. Okay, so this is not going to have the highest game total out there in the country, or even it's probably going to be one of the lower ones. I expect more of a defensive battle in this game, but that doesn't really worry me that much. So now let me change that. It's Patriots matchup. Patriots matchup. Not ideal. But I think another thing is looking a little deeper beyond just the thing. What are the Patriots kind of known for? It's guys like J.C. Jackson, Stephon Gilmore, Stephon Gilmore type of player. These guys are gonna lock down your favorite receiver, and the secondary is really the most talented. Secondary is really the most talented part of this defense. So I think one of the things that gets overshadowed when you are playing good defenses is the fact that Waddle and Parker will probably be outmatched in their individual assignments. Tua has struggled on his second reads so far in the NFL. We could see him lean on his big, safe, tight end for easy catches. Let me say easy short yardage catches. Okay. So I think the matchup isn't great, right? That's not what we're hoping for. We don't want to play the Patriots every week, but essentially if I'm a Jalen Waddle fantasy owner, if I'm a Devontae Parker fantasy owner, or better, either one, week 1, I'm more worried about those two individual assignments than what we're going to see out of Mike Gesicki against whoever will be on any given snap defending him out of the slot as the supersized tight end kind of guy. So let me think. Let's see. Let's look at his receptions. Receptions might be something I want to lean on right here. I'd imagine the number is 3.5. And if we get good odds, I think 3.5 is something to consider. So 35 yards, and I'm also going to say 3.5 receptions. Plus money is reasonable. Okay, let's see. How many times did he clear this receptions total? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So instead of the 9 times he cleared the receiving yards, he cleared it in 7 times. Interesting. So overall, I think general thoughts on Gesicki is that I hope if we get a reasonable number around 35.5, I want to say that I would enjoy this. I would really like to target him right here. And I understand the matchup isn't the greatest thing in the world, but I'm willing to risk it at 3.5 receptions if we get a good number too. So yeah, I don't know. Gesicki is a guy that I want to keep my eye out on, but I'm not necessarily jumping out of the gym to bet him on a bad number. Let's say 42, 43, 44. I think we want to stay in the low to mid 30s range, and yeah, I think really that's my final thoughts on Gesicki. I'm not, as I talked about here, I'm not looking to target any kind of Patriots cornerbacks necessarily, but I think Waddle and Parker will be outmatched. And also this Patriots, let's see, one more thing. Patriots run defense is going to be good. Be above average. I think we could see lots of checkdowns to dependable pass catchers in short yardage situations. Would normally target the RB, but the Gaskin slash Salvan Ahmed slash Malcolm Brown situation scares me. So initially I wanted to write this about Myles Gaskin. I do love the receiving yards to with the checkdowns and all that. He cashed that for me a lot last year, but unfortunately, because of the fact that there's such a pile up in that backfield with dependable pass catchers, that I'm personally just going to be passing on it right there. So yeah, okay, that's enough with Mike Gesicki. Let's move on to another. The Saints, I don't know what to do with. Saints are a mess. They have Juwan Johnson, who's going to be their starting tight end. The Adam Trotman chain has left the building, unfortunately. I don't know. I don't know what to do with them. I really don't. Marquez Callaway, I like him, but do I want to depend on him to get 53 receiving yards against frickin' that Packer cornerback? His name's slipping my mind right now, but yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I don't know if I want to trust a guy that Juwan Johnson at tight end. So the Saints are just gonna be a fade for me in week 1. Let's see, who do I want to talk about? What's a good matchup here that I'm interested in betting? There's so many guys that I just want to... I almost want to talk about George Kittle under 71 receiving yards, man, for the same reason that... Let's see. I know he was not healthy last year, but let's just see I don't remember how many games he played. Rec. Oh, wait, let me do rec yards. Oops. Props. George Kittle. Rec yards. Okay. 44, 183, 44, 109, 55, 39, 92, 68. So with the number of 71, he would have hit this 1, 2, 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 out of, I'm looking 8 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, interesting. This is the problem with betting unders against elite players, is that honestly, it's really hard. It's really hard to pull the trigger. But I'm already on Kittle. I'm already on Mostert in this game, and it's kind of for similar reasons. I do think this game might be over kind of early. George Kittle is a guy that's coming off of an injury. Do we really need him to be out there? Especially this might be in the maybe category with Chase Edmonds. Let's see. I think I'm gonna put it down in the maybe category with Chase Edmonds right here. Okay. I'm gonna cut and paste this again, and do maybes. Let's go Chase Edmonds receptions, and now let's go George Kittle under receiving yards. So let's look at it. 71.5 price picks number. Okay, so he hit this number in 3 of 8 games last season. Let's see if we can pick up on a trend against the kind of teams he missed against. So he hit against Philadelphia, shitty secondary, that makes sense. Hit against Arizona, shitty secondary, that makes sense. Missed against the Rams, pretty decent secondary. So he missed against Arizona twice, Miami and New England, that's fair, and Seattle. Interesting. So Seattle twice, and Arizona twice. So both those teams did not have particularly great secondaries last year, and the Lions will not. Missed against below average secondaries last season. Not always, but it's enough to make note of, I want to say. Season Cardinals ×2 and Seahawks times 2. Will he be needed for this game is really, will he be needed for this game? So Kittle is someone that's coming. Kittle is someone. Oh God, I think I'm talking myself into this. No clue. On week 1, I would assume by Tuesday. I might be talking myself into this. Kittle is someone that is coming off of a serious injury. How committed will 49ers coaching be to testing him in this game? Let's see. He probably does have a plus matchup, but other people that are going to have a plus matchup are Brandon Ayuk and Debo, are both receivers that are gonna have plus matchups against the extremely thin Detroit corner, or I'll just say secondary, in a game where the 49ers are projected to win easily. Is there any guarantee that Kittle, Ayuk, and Debo are all fed? I'm personally thinking that this is going to be, like I talked about earlier, it's going to be, personally thinking this is going to be an extremely run heavy game. Kittle might not even have to play the whole game. You can kind of tell I like the 49ers this year, and I like them week 1 against Detroit, as I think most people out there probably do. But the real question, I just hit 6,800 followers on Twitter. I appreciate that. To anyone that's in here that follows me, that's really cool. Yeah, I guess this is pretty simple. There's not really the level of analysis required isn't super deep. It's pretty much, I don't think this is going to be a close game. This is a super high number, especially for a tight end. He only hit this in 3 of 8 games last year. He's someone that blocks a lot. Let me add that. Lots of blocking. High snap share, but not always running the routes you would think he is. So yeah, Kittle is someone, let me see if I missed anything, that is coming off serious injury. How committed will the 49ers coaching be to testing him this game? Ayuk and Debo are both receivers that are going to have plus matchups against the extremely thin Detroit secondary. In a game where the 49ers are projected to win easily, is there guaranteed Kittle are all fed? I'm personally thinking this is going to be an extremely run-heavy game. Kittle could even have a nice, let's see. Kittle could even have a nice, 4 for 60 kind of game. He has a good game, starts off well, but I'm not necessarily sure that, I'm not necessarily sure that he will be 100% needed for this. And Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G has shown historically he can't sustain that many pass catchers. Someone has to be the odd man out. And I'll take a chance that it might be the injury-riddled guy. So we'll see what the numbers are. This could be one that I think might even get hyped up to the over a little bit. We could see some good odds for this. We even could see, let's see. We could even see, a 675. So I'm going to say target range is going to be for the under. It's going to be like 72 to 75. That would be, or I would say 72 plus. Once we get into 65s, the 64s, I don't like it as much. As you see, he hit 68 once last year, 55. He's getting kind of close. Kittle's also a guy with an extreme lack of touchdown equity for whatever reason. I mean, they run the ball so much over the last couple of years that his tight ends just kind of gotten. Let's see, his tight end red zone numbers are kind of low. Let me highlight all these just so I can see them easily when I go back. Okay. Let's see. Let's keep it going. Next, I've already talked about TJ Hawkinson. If you don't know that, by the way, you can check out my article at Bet Karma. I'll send it in the Discord in a little bit, but it's up on Bet Karma right now under the articles tab. Should be easy to find. It's just a week 1 look ahead where I talked about TJ Hawkinson, and the next guy I talked about I will put on this document. Actually, there's no need to do that. It's Andy Dalton interceptions. If that number is at -110, we'll hammer it. But since that and Hawkinson are already covered in the article, there's really no need for me to actually talk about that again. I can just send the article for anyone that's interested. Let's go to a new face. Okay, and also one last note actually on this one. Ayuk is set at 64.5. Debo at 56.5. So these are all going to be some high numbers, and I'm not sure where as we see when Jimmy G props are released, is this really going to be sustainable for Jimmy G? I'm not convinced yet. Maybe I'm wrong, but I am not convinced. Like I said earlier, willing to answer any questions about any of these guys. Okay, so I wanted to talk about. Let's see. I wanted to talk about Juju Smith-Schuster. Unfortunately, a reception prop is not posted for him right now, but that's okay, because PrizePicks only has the receiving yards, and not actually. PrizePicks unfortunately only has the receiving yards, not actually the receptions. But as we saw last year, I mean, Juju was a freaking monster in terms of his just receptions, as we saw at the end of the year, 13, 6, 9, 6. He was really 7, 8, 9, 7, 9. Like even on like it was just disappointing yards after that. Essentially, I mean, when we look at it in some of these games, his 8 receptions for 37 yards. Okay, 4 receptions for 19 yards. These aren't really what we want. 9 receptions for 77. That's not terrible, but some of these were a little disappointing. 9 for 85. Like you could be doing a lot better than that. But he was getting a lot of those short yardage receptions. But if we look, his number is set at a reasonable 55. But that's going to be interesting. It's set at 55 on PrizePicks, but I don't. Okay, sorry, it's set at 59. It's hard to tell how books are going to rate these 3 receivers, because essentially when we go to Buffalo, one of them is going to get Buffalo's elite corner, and that's going to be tough because nobody really wants to face those kind of cover corners. So I don't know. Let's see.